Today, I wanted to talk about the Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf case. On April 2nd, 2025, at a Texas State track meet, two teams would get into an argument over whether one team was supposed to be sitting in that area. 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony would be told he was not allowed to sit under the umbrella of Austin Metcalf's team while it rained. After failing to come to an agreement about where Karmelo Anthony was allowed to sit, the two teams began arguing. This is when witnesses say Austin Metcalf would grab Karmelo Anthony, starting the chain of events that would lead to his death when 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony defended himself with a knife out of his book bag, while Austin Metcalf lay dying in the arms of his brother. Karmelo Anthony would wait for officials to arrive, believing that he acted in self-defense. However, Karmelo Anthony was charged with first-degree murder and held on $1 million bond. With the outcry and the outpouring of support, Karmelo Anthony's family secured a healthy amount of money for his legal defense, and with new representation, was able to secure a bond reduction to only $250,000. Just this Monday, 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony was released from jail, and now there's been debates about whether these things are considered murderous or self-defense. So we wanted to, holler at y'all about it, man, because this is what we do, We ride with the real. And I think that this case is an excellent example of what's real when it comes to defending yourself and what's not real. Before we get into, the full case of Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf, because RIP, Austin Metcalf, we want to talk about just the history of this same problem.
Who initially started the physical altercation?
Well, I spoke to Mr. Zimmerman's father. His story was that, in fact, Trayvon Martin confronted him as he was making his way back to the car.
Rittenhouse, by Binger's account, is in a place where he doesn't belong. He's like an out-of-towner who's come in, intruding into a scene that he doesn't belong in. So what he's trying to do is suggest that in the entire continuum of the circumstances, this kid did a lot of things that he shouldn't have done, and therefore that was provocative to the people that he ultimately interacted with, and he doesn't get to defend himself if in the course of those interactions he's assaulted. And I think we're going to hear from the defense, obviously, that that's not what the standard is.
Cases like George Zimmerman, a grown man with a gun who fears for his life from a kid with an iced tea. When you look at cases like Kyle Rittenhouse in Wisconsin, where a 17-year-old kid with an assault rifle is scared for his life from a person with a glass bottle or something like that. I believe he did have some sort of weapon in his hand, but it wasn't an assault rifle. And now you got a 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony being afraid for his life from another kid where maybe he feel like he's getting surrounded. I know the kid had a twin brother who was very close to the confrontation, but when a person grabs you and they're attempting to, throw you down the bleachers or wherever, I know they were standing in bleacher areas underneath tents while it was raining. So then that's another thing too. It was raining outside. And these people are trying to grab you. They're trying to throw you. You don't know why. All you told them was, hey, I want to sit here, which is, legal. We're all citizens of the United States. I can sit where I want to sit. Once that person puts their hands on you, if you feel like my life is in danger, then just like George Zimmerman or just like Kyle Rittenhouse or just like the countless number of police officers who've, killed kids with toy guns because they thought that their life was in danger. I see it pretty plain and simple, man. Karmelo Anthony thought his life was in danger. It's going to be very important and interesting to see the outcome of this case, because we know the outcomes of the other cases, and I think that they are like dead on smack center. So if you were mad at George Zimmerman for killing Trayvon Martin, to be honest, you should be mad at Karmelo Anthony for killing Austin Metcalf. However, it was legal. And I think we need to separate being upset about something, whether it should have happened, whether it shouldn't have happened, should he have had the knife, should he have been sitting over there. None of those things really matter in the court of law. Like, they matter in public opinion, but in the court of law, it's already been proven, not on the federal level, because each state has its own laws, but it's already been proven in a number of states that have similar laws to Texas that if a person assaults you and you have a reasonable fear that your life could be taken or you could have great bodily harm, you are able to defend yourself to the nth degree. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to worry about, am I doing too much? If, you are walking down the street and somebody grabs you, you don't know why they grabbed you. You don't got time to ask them why they grabbed you. You're allowed to defend yourself. So although some people, I know, you got this side, we know this both sides. And, I support Karmelo Anthony, but it may not be for the same reason that everybody else supports it. I support Karmelo Anthony because he acted within the law. Period. He followed the letter of the law. And sometimes following the letter of the law means people die. It happens every day. It happened to George Floyd. It happened to, Tamir Rice. It happened to, it happens to people every day, man. People die without laws being broken every day. So hopefully all of these people that's up in a roar and they're super upset about what's going on, you are allowed to feel that way. You are allowed to be upset. You are allowed to cry. And trust me, we did it too. When our people died and it was through the letter of the law and there was no real recourse we could get, we was mad too. But it didn't mean dude went to jail forever because he ain't break no law. So hopefully, man, y'all believe in the justice system the same way that we have to constantly believe in the justice system, even when it don't work out for us. But yeah, Karmelo Anthony, man, hey, if y'all didn't know, that's what's going on with it. I ain't want to dig too deep. Like I said, this is not even normally the type of videos I make, but I just thought that it was super important that somebody speak on it.